Halfway through a gruelling season, the World Rally Championship throws up its toughest test yet. A double challenge. The smooth, treacherous tarmac of Germany and the rough, high-speed gravel of Finland.
Get out. Okay.
Between them, just 2 days and a 2,000-kilometre dash over land and sea. For one team, this is the chance to put a miserable 6 months behind them.
This is where we start the season, and I think put a decent show in for the rest of the year.
But can they master both surfaces and take the rough with the smooth? It's a tough way to start a comeback. Subaru driver Petter Solberg's goal this year was to regain the World Championship he won in 2003. His new Impreza should have set the world alight, but from the start the car suffered reliability problems. Since then, Petter has been trying to squeeze more performance out of the car to catch his rivals. The super-fast Frenchman Sébastien Loeb driving a Citroën, and the experienced Finn Marcus Gronholm in his Ford. So far, Petter has managed to wrestle his car to just 2 second places. Now the team is going all out to take the next step to start winning. So an 8-week break between rallies in the middle of the season has been no summer holiday for Subaru. Instead, team boss Paul Howarth has been pushing everyone hard, rebuilding, testing and improving the car. Changes have been made to the suspension, brakes and roll cage. And component redesign has allowed a massive 35 kilos to be shifted around the car, lowering its centre of gravity, improving handling. But will this complete overhaul bring success in the double challenge ahead? 2 paired rallies, 2 days apart. They call it a back-to-back. First, the Smooth, Rally Germany, one of the only 4 tarmac events in the season. It's fast, technical, and in the wet, treacherous. Then the Rough, Finland, the spiritual home of rallying. Run on hard gravel tracks lined with trees, it's the fastest and most dangerous rally in the calendar. Before they leave England, the engineers must prepare for both. The chassis and engine will be the same for both rallies, but the trucks are also stuffed with brakes, suspension, engine cooling parts and tyres dedicated to each surface. It's also a double challenge for the drivers. Chris Atkinson, Subaru number 2 driver, grew up on the dirt tracks of Australia's Gold Coast, but he's learning fast how to handle the black stuff.
Tarmac cornering, a bit different to gravel cornering. It's all about a crossover between brake pressure and steering as you come into the corner. So do most of your braking in a straight line generally. You decrease the brake pressure, then you increase the steering angle, turn in and then do your exit, and then come on the throttle like that.
It's all about split-second timing at key moments. Get it wrong, and you're either too slow or you're gone.
See, in Germany, the roads are only as wide as the cars, so it doesn't leave much room for error.
Subaru's top test driver, Terry Cabey, thinks gravel is all about confidence.
On gravel, once the car starts moving around on the loose surface, you do need the confidence to know just how far the car will slide. And if you're doing speeds in excess of 150 kilometers an hour, you know all of that happens very fast.
Okay, so we're approaching this hairpin. We're in 5th gear, braking now. Down through the box. Now the car sliding a little bit the other way just to get the momentum of the car to slide it in. The back sliding out. We're trying to control that. Touch of the handbrake. Steering into the slide, looking for traction. trying to get the drive out in a straight line as possible.
The big difference from tarmac is the tiny adjustments made all the way through the corner, judged by the seat of your pants. Two very different driving techniques. Two different mindsets for the drivers. But they can only succeed in the double challenge ahead if the team's engineers have really solved the problems with this year's car. With two rallies on totally different surfaces just 2 days apart, the Subaru team are ready to face part one of the challenge, the smooth tarmac of Germany. The rally is run in the valleys around the Mosel River. 3 days and 350 kilometres of timed stages on closed roads. Between stages, they must keep to speed limits on public roads. In total, they will drive 1,800 kilometres before the end of the rally at midday on Sunday. Odds-on favourite to win here is world champion and tarmac king Sebastian Loeb. He loves the surface and has won here 4 times. Petter has won 13 world rallies, but only 1 on tarmac. Like most Scandinavian drivers, he learned to drive on slippery forest trails and feels more at home on gravel. But he's hoping that 8 weeks of intensive redesign and testing will give him the chance to change that. On this year's tarmac rally, Subaru have drafted an ex-Formula 1 driver, Stefan Salazin. His experience in circuit racing should give him an advantage here, but his last 3 rallies have been disappointing. Germany is the final tarmac event of the year, so this could be Stefan's last chance to establish himself in the sport. Team boss, Paul Howarth, is impatient for better results.
We want to be in the top 5. We want to be closer, reducing the gap between the Citroens and the Fords on this surface.
Today's shakedown. The 4-hour practice session is a last chance to fine-tune the cars. Although there are no points at stake, rivalry between the drivers means they all want to get the fastest time. As expected, Loeb posts the quickest time of the morning on the 3.5 kilometre course, but more surprising is that Petter is only 0.02 of a second behind him.
Well, either everybody else has decided to drive through slowly, or we are closer to the opposition.
We have done a lot of work in the last 2 months, and the team have been absolutely on their head to make improvements, and it feels like and looks like we have done some good ones.
For once, it looks as though Petter's Impreza may have the legs to match Loeb on his own surface. Petter goes out for one more test run.
Flat 6 right bus, keep in, opens out long 200, 5 right bus tightens, and cut short for left bus, opens 150.
At 130 kilometres an hour, Petter has hit a tree. Incredibly, both Petter and co-driver Phil Mills are unhurt, but the car looks like a write-off.
On gravel we can get away with many things, but on tarmac everything has to be right.
Petter must wait for the engineers to decide whether they can repair the car in time for the start, now just 16 hours away. Paul decides to go for it. He orders a new engine to be rushed from HQ in England, but it won't arrive until the evening. At 1 o'clock in the afternoon, the technicians start to strip the car down. The damaged body shell is straightened out, rally style. The shell is squeezed, beaten and cut back into shape by a 20-man relay team. The evening before the rally, it's the all-star drive-through. For Petter and Phil, it's a walkthrough. At 11:40 p.m, just 11 hours before Petter is due on the start line, the engine arrives. Altogether, 89 major components are replaced. At 3 o'clock in the morning, with 5 hours to spare, the car is ready. The exhausted technicians have worked 350 man-hours. If this were your local garage, you'd be getting a bill for at least €14,000. Paul's faith in his technicians has been rewarded. Against all the odds, Petter has a car to start the rally.
Yeah, new car. It's not bad actually. It's 100%. So the only problem is that we didn't have the same geometry that we had on the shakedown yesterday, and that's how it is. I need to adjust the car a little bit this morning.
Weather always plays a big part in rallying, but especially on tarmac. Rain can turn a tight 100 km/h bend into a skid pan.